How's everyone doing? We're going to go ahead and deal with the subject today. Let me move over a little bit. Have something here. This is actually my wife's cup. This is water. So why do I show you that cup with water? Well, it's real simple. So the water in the cup, it came out of the sink. All right. I have an ice maker that has ice, and ice is made from the water. Okay. I don't have one with me right now, but we also have bottled water. Now, here's an interesting thing. Whether you're drinking from, and everybody has their preference, but bottom line is this. Whether you're drinking from the bottled water, whether you're drinking from the water out of a cup, and this is my wife's favorite cup, by the way, or whether you're drinking from water from a fountain or something like that, it is still water. The value of it is not diminished in any way. It is still identified, thank you, as water. Okay. So, why am I talking about this? Because if we were to take water directly out of the fountain, and actually, we tend to hold the water, and I guess it depends on who you are, really. Some people tend to hold the water in the bottle of higher value than water not in a bottle. And it just depends on where you're at and who you are. But the bottom line is this, is that the value of it being water, it simply being water, does not change a bit. Whether it's coming out of the fountain or whether it's coming through, you're getting bottled water, okay? I should know. I work for a water company. But the reason why I'm saying this is that the Spirit of God inside of a person does not make you less connected or identified with God. You see how that works? See, we tend to make, and some of our messages have made it to where everything that is here is greater than everything if you're in here. Let me just tell you what this means, okay? They get that misconstrued, or we get this misconstrued with literally thinking from a godly mindset or a Jesus mindset or a heavenly mindset, however you want to say it, okay? Whatever your preference may be, because you're essentially, at the end of the day, you're saying the same thing because it's interconnected in one, okay? Not separate, but one, okay? When you think outside of your original mindset that you were created for, okay, that not only brings despair and distress, but it's literally like, or it is, it's really a state of hell. That's what it is. That's all this is. It's a state of depression, evil, anything that's bad that can come forth. When you think outside your original mindset that you were designed to think from, because your mindset that you think from is what you'll live from. And I'm not talking about what's on the surface conscious of your mind. I'm talking about the things that are down in your subconscious level, the things that you do things without thinking about it. That would be the core you of who you are. Well, if you're not thinking from a Jesus mindset, and we'll just say that to keep it simple, if you're not thinking from a Jesus mindset, then literally that is thinking lower on a lower spectrum per se. That's not thinking on a higher heavenly spectrum. That's thinking on a lower spectrum. So when you think anything other than a Jesus mindset, you're literally thinking from a lower plane mindset. Okay, does it make sense? That's all that is. It's see, and we've also been told that this nasty, stinking flesh is so dirty and it's so separate from God. Guys, gals, Jesus walked around in this stuff for 33 years and a half, give or take. And he never beat his body up by calling it so evil and dirty and slimy, and it's just this evil thing, and I'm just stuck in here for a while and I gotta struggle just to make it. No. Do you realize when, I know, because some of y'all pulling scriptures, what about I die daily? You know, we got to kill this stuff daily. Listen, guys, When Paul made that statement, first of all, he only made it in one place. Second of all, when Paul made that statement, Paul's life was at a threat. And what it actually says is, my life is at threat every day. My life is on the line every day. Why? Because he was even told in almost every city he went in, he not only was being persecuted, but his life literally was on the line. There were people that would wait and fast and determine that they were not going to eat until they had killed Paul. So this is what Paul was actually talking about. When Jesus talks about it, you say, well, Jesus says this. Okay, let's bring that up. So when Jesus says, anyone who would follow me must take up his cross and follow me. Okay. Now we say take up your cross daily and follow the Lord. It's not what this is saying. Anyone who was crucified at that, first of all, the cross was not something that was beautiful to behold then. It was not. Okay. Hate to burst your bubble. Jesus redeemed and reconciled that, made it what it is today. But originally it was not that. And so when you look at, when Jesus is saying this, anyone who knew that when someone goes to the cross, they knew one thing: you were not coming back. So what was Jesus really saying? Listen, as many times as you have to put this in front of your mind on a daily basis, but it literally is a one-time trip. In other words, this is to be a settled, solidified thing. Okay. Jesus said it himself. No one takes my life. I lay my life down. I lay my life down that I may take it up. The beautiful thing is that you were in Christ. So when Jesus laid his life down, your life has already been laid down. So there's not this thing where you have to go through this rigorous, laborious things. And you have this in other cultures where they call it the labors that we had to listen. Jesus has already done the labor. He's already done the work. It's a finished, done work. All you have to do is say wow and thank you and live like it's true. I wonder what would happen if you live like that's true. Listen, your body is not the enemy. Quit beating it up. Listen, there have been stories of people castrating themselves, cutting themselves, doing all kinds of heinous stuff to themselves because they were trying to get rid of this thing. Oh, I'm just stuck. And because we have erroneous teaching that doesn't come from the Jesus mindset, then we can begin to think that this is really what's supposed to happen. And that's not true. Listen, your body is your friend. It's the temple. Think about this. In the original context for the physical temples that were built with brick and stone, they beautified these things. They had priests and priestesses, depending upon what culture, that served in these temples, and these things were treated delicate, like they were treated better than their own home. These were like, man, the temple. Ooh, you got to do this and that. There was a criteria and a protocol for going into the temple. Do you realize that your body is a temple of the Spirit of God? You are the house of the living God. You are. So it's not this thing where you're so evil and so jacked up that, oh man, I've just got to, man, no, this is not it. Love your body. Love yourself. Okay? Because you're going to be there for a while. Why? Because you were called into life to manifest heaven into the earth. Okay. So just know that the Spirit of God, listen, God within you is equally as powerful as, I'm going to say this, okay? It's equally as powerful as, actually even more impact. Okay, let me say it this way. The Spirit is greater, but the Spirit isn't greater because the Spirit's not inside of a body. Okay. It's like this. Okay, let me do it like this. Probably I don't know how good of a parable this is going to be, but just go with me for a minute. I have a $5 bill and a $20 bill. The $20 bill is greater because it's greater in value. But then I have a $20 bill. Oh, let's scratch that. Say I have a $100 bill, and I have the life of any of my family members. They win all the time because they are of much more value than that. You see how this works? The value of the Spirit is great, but the Spirit lives in you. And for those people who think, well, I didn't ask the Spirit in, let me ask you something, because I just find this amazing. Even people that rarely even pick up a Bible or know anything about Jesus will ascribe some of the horrendous things going on the earth to, well, if they hadn't ate that darn apple in the garden, to Adam. Imagine that. Nobody is praying that I've heard, you're going to say this prayer and ask Adam into your heart so you can then take on your life of sin. Nobody's doing that. Nobody. We don't think of this stuff through here. Now watch this. So, all in Adam died, all in Christ are made alive. Period. Bottom line, you're in. Period. You say, why does it seem like stuff is still just going crazy? Because we have been taught to identify ourselves in our core identity by our behavior, and that's not true. So right now, I'm using my cell phone to do a video. But when I bought this thing, I did not buy it as a video camera. I bought it as a phone. I did not buy it as a radio, even though I can listen to music on it. I bought it as a phone. It is a phone, and its primary sole function of what gives it its identity is that it can make a phone call, receive phone calls, and because it's a cell phone, it can make and receive this one, text messages. Now, even that's not an option on the cell phone, technically. In order for it to be a phone, it has to be able to make and receive calls. That's what makes it what it is. But just because it has all this other stuff, we don't call it that. We don't call it our apps. We don't call it one of the games on our phone. We don't call it the GPS. We don't call it that. We call it the phone. Make sense? So just because you have more things that are connected to something does not mean that is its core identity. Okay? The core identity is rooted and based on whatever the Creator named it at the time the Creator named it. Or in other words, what the Creator made and created it for gives it its identity. So, in simple, you are made after the likeness of Jesus. Everyone that I'm speaking to. There is no such thing as starting from the outside. How does this work? Somebody telling you that there's something you have to do to get in is like a fish in a fish bowl talking to another fish. There's something you have to do to make it into this water. Or better yet, let's say this. It's like any fish in the ocean, any ocean life, talking to another ocean life and saying, you know, when you say this prayer, you're going to be in the ocean. We're already in. Okay, let's go with eagles. That's like one eagle speaking to another eagle, baby eagle, and saying, you know, at some point, you're going to earn your wings and you're going to be an eagle. That's not going to happen. The whole reason that they learn to fly is because they are waking up to the reality of something that's already true about them. They've already got the wings. They got to learn how to use them. It's like when a baby first learns to walk. They've already got the legs. No parent tells their little baby when they're crawling, say this prayer and you're going to get some legs and learn how to walk. That don't happen. As much as we would like to say, as soon as I get them to say this, they're going to take off walking. It does not happen that way. They discover the legs everything is a discovery process for a baby. They discover they have feet and then they start putting them in their mouth. They discover they have these hands and then they start putting them in their mouth. They discover they have a mouth and then they start using that to kind of taste everything. They wake up to the reality of something that is already there. and it changes their experience with it. That's how they learn to walk. Let's say that again. They don't learn to walk because somebody told them they have legs. They learn to walk because they discover something that they have. Wow, I didn't know I had these. And then they start using the things they didn't know they had. And then that's how they learn to walk. They actually discover what walking is by discovering everything else first. There's so many of these things that is ingrained in our culture as simple, and we make this difficult, but it's not. And the truth of the matter is, what's inside of you, you as a person are extremely intrinsically valuable. And don't let anyone tell you you're not in, so you're not valuable. That is a lie right out of the pit of hell, or right out of the pit of man-made religion, period. It's a lie, and it's not true. So that's what I have time for today. Hey, have a great day, and remember, you're loved.